First step in God realization, and verse number 11. Continuing with verse number 11. Om ajnanatimrandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization, verse number 11. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripanirnitam harirnamanukirtanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because we are continuing with this verse, the purport, we will just study the translation and the purport. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So in the first couple of paragraphs, we saw Prabhupada in the purport speaking about the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the bhaktas. And as the devotees, they don't want anything except the pleasure of the Lord. And the best way to please the Lord is to chant His holy name. Yesterday, Sneha Mataji very nicely, she spoke about the glories of the holy name, and then we'll continue with the offenses today. There are a total of 10 offenses. And I thought it'll be nice because many of us are chanting for a long time. Some of us are new, some of us are very new. So discussing like this is like discussing like cooking. When you're cooking, you have to constantly stir the pot so that the contents of the pot doesn't get burnt. And even while you're making chapati or something, there's constant endeavor to reduce the flame, to increase the flame, to put the chapati on the tawa and again on the fire. So it's a constant effort. So similarly, when we are discussing these things about chanting, it's a constant reminder to ourselves for our own purification. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiriyat. Nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So yesterday Sneha asked a question, why am I chanting? In her homage also she had written, why am I chanting? Yes, there are many reasons. One of the important reasons is that, it is actually also coming from the authorities. Here it says, Harer Namanu Kirtanam. So Namanu Kirtanam means we are following in the footsteps of the authorities and we are chanting like that. So the most important instruction given to us is to chant minimum number of rounds. So when we start, we chant 1 round, 2 rounds, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, 16 rounds, like that. So once we get initiated, we are told to chant at least 16 rounds every day. Some spiritual masters also stipulate 25 rounds on Ekadashi and festival days. So chanting is the most important instruction of the spiritual master. But also at the same time, if you understand that taking the Lord's name is actually prevalent in all the practices, whether one is a Buddhist, one is a Muslim, one is a Christian, Jehovah's Witness, any faith you take, chanting is the prime, practice for progress in the spiritual life. So just understand this. We chant the two types of chanting, of course. We know japa and kirtan. So japa is the chanting which we do alone, and kirtan is the congregational chanting. And as we know, the first verse of Shikshashtakam, a few devotees have discussed that those 8 prayers which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally wrote, and the first verse of the Shikshashtakam and the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are glorifying the congregational chanting. When we chant Harinam or we chant in Kirtan together in temple or in a home program somewhere. So, of course, the japa must lead to Kirtan. Japa must lead to Kirtan. Japa is, yes, good, very good. It's, the best, of course. But as we know, Prabhupada said, in the spiritual world, there's perfect, there's more perfect, and there's most perfect. So japa is perfect, but the Sankirtan is the most perfect. So here we'll talk more about the japa, not the Sankirtan, because the offenses are relating to the japa when we chant on our own prescribed number of rounds. So first principle, we understand that yes, it is a very important spiritual practice, a daily spiritual practice, that we take our beads, we pray to the beads, then we chant on the holy. We chant on the beads the holy name. There are different devotees. They come up with different ways of chanting, but ultimately we have to chant on the beads and give a specified, specific time of chanting. Why? Because chanting means this is our personal time with Krishna. Chanting means our personal time with Krishna. So if you understand, when you're chanting on your own, even when you're chanting in the temple together, we are actually alone because we are chanting on our own. So it's beautifully said, chanting is being alone, but in the best of company. So those who are writing notes, you can write here, chanting is being alone, but in the best of company. Now, why best of company? Because as we know, Krishna is absolute, and Krishna's names, Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's abode, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Dhama, these are all same. So when we are actually chanting the holy name, we are spending our personal time with Krishna. So chanting is being alone, but in the best of the company. Now, of course, then we start chanting. We know it's a very important practice. It's a personal time with Krishna. We pick up our beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And then we can understand, yes, this is my personal time with Krishna. But what happens is, because of the conditioning, because of the nature of the material world we live in, our mind immediately goes berserk. It just goes mad. It goes from here to there like a monkey which is drunk. Imagine, there's a nice temple. It's a nice temple, and there's the beautiful deities. There's nice kirtan happening. There's a nice, Bhagavatam classes going on, Bhagavad Gita classes going on. Everyone is getting the mercy from Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, from the deities, Tulsi Puja. And a drunkard enters the temple. And a drunkard enters the temple and he starts, creating nuisance. So what's going to happen? Even though the mercy is flowing, and the devotees request him to stop, but the drunkard is not going to stop because he's not, in his senses. So politely and nicely, the devotees will take him out of the temple. So even though so much mercy is flowing, the person who is in such a condition will not be able to grab the mercy. So even though he's in the most fortunate place, but he is one of the most unfortunate souls. So this way, when we start chanting, when our mind is not in our control, when we don't hear properly, as Prabhupada says, the 6 magic words, when we are chanting, try to hear yourself chant sincerely. try to hear yourself chant sincerely. And then the mind goes everywhere. The mind is like a drunkard. The mercy from the holy name is flowing, but we are not in the right condition to get the mercy. And why does this happen? Padma Puran lists these 10 offenses. So we will see what Srila Prabhupada says in purport, and we'll try to elaborate a little bit on that. So Prabhupada says the first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. So in our general terms, we call this blaspheming the devotees. And of course, someone who has given their lives to propagate the holy name of the Lord, right? And this is the most serious offense. The offense, when it's translated into Sanskrit, or Sanskrit is translated as offense, it's called aparadha. Aparadha, you can say literally means an action against Radha. Aparadha, an action against Radha, an action against Srimati Radharani. So someone who has given their life to propagate the holy name of the Lord worldwide, and when we criticize that person, criticism is very serious. This is taken as very serious because this person has given oneself to the Lord, right? He's given himself to the Lord. And then what happens, as we see in the 9th canto in the story of Amrish Maharaj, the Lord says, I do not think of anyone except my devotee, and my devotee doesn't think of anyone except me. So when Krishna has the pure devotee in his heart, and when we offend this devotee, we are actually offending the Lord in our heart. So yes, our devotional service is based on mercy. And the moment we start criticizing the devotee, we start blaspheming the devotee, the flow of mercy immediately stops. The flow of mercy immediately stops. Why? Because you can understand, we are not qualified, we are not eligible to get the mercy directly from the Lord. These wonderful devotees, these pure devotees are the carriers of this mercy. And if we criticize these people, then what hope we have? What hope we have to when we are committing such mercy? Now, we are not at that level that Krishna is going to give us that high level of bhakti very freely. But these devotees, these pure devotees, Krishna gives them. Yes. So we should be very careful. We should always respect them. We should always serve them. And then when these pure devotees make a plea or request to Krishna on our behalf, then Krishna will accommodate. Now imagine this. So the person who's going to hold your hand, Surdas, actually in one of his prayers, he sings very nicely that I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master. In one hand, he is holding my hand, and in the other hand, he is holding the lamp of knowledge, which is taking me to Krishna. So if we are understanding that, yes, this is the position of a devotee who has given their life to propagating the holy name of the Lord, we cannot offend them, we cannot criticize them, we cannot blaspheme them. And of course, as we know, the offense is proportionate to the level of the purity of the offended devotee. So if we offend an advanced devotee, it's very serious because those devotees are very dear to Krishna. Of course, we should try not to offend any and every devotee, not only devotee, even non-devotees. We should respect one and all as much as possible. The second offense is to see the holy names of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. The Lord is the proprietor of all the universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that does not in any way qualify the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as the others because they are all meant for the Lord. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there's no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular name of the Lord as it is locally understood. They're all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. So this, we understand that the Lord's names are supremely powerful. And Prabhupada says here that wherever you go, the Lord's name is the same. And as we heard before, the Lord's name are Mukhya and Gauna. Mukhya means primary, and then Gauna means secondary. Prabhupada says that the Lord, of course, is proprietor of all the universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that doesn't mean that it's any less anywhere. Like in London, in the Soho Street Temple, the deities are called Sri Sri Radha London Ishwar. In Paris, they are called Sri Radha Paris Ishwar. So this way, the Lord is controller of Paris also. He's the controller of all the universes. So Prabhupada gave these wonderful names. And these names are, again, as Prabhupada says, as powerful as the Lord. Now, what happens is that, someone, when we come from a background of Devata Puja, we come from a background with, we worship so many other deities, then we think, okay, it's the same thing. In India, there's the Holy Trinity. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are the same level. But no, the Padma Purana specifically states that the second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. So, why as Vaishnavas we are trying to say, why is only Krishna important? Because, everyone else, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, are also saying that Krishna's position is very special, and Krishna is known as Adi Purusha. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Brahma himself sings this. So, of course, the Devatas are great personalities, but they are not the supreme personalities. And Krishna is ultimately the supreme personality of Godhead. So, when we try to do some business with some company and we try to go through some obscure means to get some business, no, the best way to do is go to the owner, explain to him what we're trying to do and establish relationship with them. So similarly here, when we try to establish a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, then we understand, yes, this is this is what is required. If we understand the position of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva also, yes, they are devotees of the Lord. Brahma is also mentioning that, if anyone says that I know you, Krishna, let them say. But as far as I am concerned, I very confidently say that I don't know you at all. Lord Shiva himself says, yes. And Lord Shiva, who is Lord Shiva? He is the highest Vaishnava. Nimna Ganam yatha Ganga, Achyutanam Devo yatha, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambho. So Vaishnavanam yatha Shambho. Bhāgavatam says in the 12th canto that among the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the highest. So Brahma and Shiva and all the Devis, Devatas will be pleased when we understand that the names of Krishna are the highest. So the second offense is that we should not consider that, generally when we meet, they say, oh, that's your path, but I can take anything. But that's not the proper argument. The proper argument is that we have to understand the differentiation. We must respect everyone, but we must also understand the position of the Lord. So this way, while differentiating between who to respect and who to worship, we will avoid the second offense. So the second offense is to consider the names of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. So offense number 3, Prabhupada speaks here that the third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. And in Padma Purana it says to disobey the order of the spiritual master. So, why is it offense? And at the end of the day, we are not offending Krishna. But we have to understand that Krishna is arranging this whole situation for us to practice. When we deal with devotees, right now it's okay, we are dealing with them, little formally. So, the relationships are great, but not very intimate with the devotees, especially with the higher authorities, with our spiritual master, with other senior Vaishnavas. But we have to understand this, that Krishna has arranged this situation so that we can practice here respect to all these personalities. And when we respect these personalities, automatically we can become humble. So we can see that an athlete, a musician, or any person, they need to prepare and practice. So When we start practicing, respecting all these people, obeying the instructions, what they're giving, and any advice or any suggestion or instruction which comes from the authorities is for our own good, is for our own good. Because ultimately, Lord is wanting our good, that He wants us to come back to Him. And these wonderful devotees are acting as ambassador for the Lord, so that ultimately we are uplifted, we become steady in our practice, and then we progress in the stages of bhakti, and then ultimately we get this nishtha, asakti, ruchi, bhav, and prem. So if we sincerely and very humbly accept the orders of our authorities, our spiritual life becomes very easy. Again, we should not be like the drunkard, entering the temple and causing disturbance. So sometimes what happens when some instruction is given and we don't use, we don't follow those instructions, the entire situation is disturbed. And, we are like that drunkard who is going to disturb the situation. The fourth offense, of course, a lot more can be said about these offenses. As Sneha mentioned yesterday, in almost all the initiation classes, all the initiation lectures, these 10 offenses are very greatly emphasized, so that we can understand that while we are beginning our spiritual journey, we avoid, there are do's and don'ts, so we don't commit these offenses, these aparadhas. The fourth offense, Prabhupada says here, is to vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. That means to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of Vedic version. Of course, so same thing, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We don't want to disrespect the Guru, we don't want to disrespect the Sadhu, and we don't want to disrespect the Shastra. And as we know, the Shastras are the literary incarnations of Krishna. Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So how, we offer our obeisances to the deities, to someone like Tulsi Maharani, we should offer our obeisances to these scriptures. And that's why, when we store these scriptures, we must store them in a nice place. We must read them regularly. And even when we study them, we should like wash our hands and then, handle these wonderful scriptures. We know that Krishna's words and Krishna's pastimes with the devotees are non-different at all. And they're non-different from Krishna at all. So to criticize or to blaspheme the Vedic literature or to disrespect it is very destructive. You can say if someone criticizes Bhagavatam, now we've been studying Bhagavatam for such a long time, and now can you tolerate the criticism of Srimad Bhagavatam? No. It's almost like criticizing Krishna himself. We cannot stand that. So we should also be careful not to criticize Vedic literature or any literature in pursuance of Vedic version. Sometimes what happens in our conditioning, especially for some souls like me who are not simple-hearted, when we are given some instructions which we are unable to follow because of our own conditioning, then we start criticizing these scriptures. Oh, no, that's okay, that's mentioned, but, I don't have to follow that. No, this is what we call niyam agraha. As Rupa Goswami says, niyam agraha and niyam agraha. That means we don't we don't follow the rules and regulations just whimsically, or we follow the rules and regulations without understanding the purpose behind them. So that is the fourth offense. I don't know whether I'll be able to finish all the offenses, but let's see. Prabhupada says the fifth offense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of one's mundane calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be non-different from him. This is very, very important. It's very, very important. Many years ago when I started chanting, and then, maybe after 2, 3, 4 years, I was associating with a wonderful devotee. And then I asked the devotee, I said, how can we know that we have like we've come to a stage where, yes, chanting is really, really nice for us, fun for us, and it doesn't become a burden. So the answer was very technical. I was told that when you understand that the holy name is the Lord Himself, and you don't need any other support to chant the holy name. Support means, like, some people, chant in front of the deities. Some people chant, they need, Prabhupada tape going on. Some people, these things are nice. But if we are chanting the holy name with a lot of attention, with a lot of emotions and a lot of devotion, understanding that the holy name is Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we are chanting like that, Sachinandan Maharaj tells a very nice story. Once he was, practicing his spiritual life in the source of Ganga up in the Himalayas, and he was walking on a narrow ledge, on a narrow ridge, in the mountains. And it was, suddenly he felt that afternoon breeze is blowing, and that breeze became wind, and then he realized that now storm is coming. And then the afternoon powerful storm started to happen, and he took a shelter under a rock, just waiting for the storm to pass. And then while he was waiting, down the valley he could see a yogi who with a long hair, long beard, and he could see the yogi very like quite closely, but the yogi, because of the height, could not see Sachinandan Maharaj. And Maharaj could see that the yogi is, because of his tilak mark, Maharaj could make out that he is a Ram Bhakta. I've told this story before. And the Ram Bhakta was chanting the Lord's name, and tears were flowing from his eyes. And he was not even worried about the storm. Of course, the storm, because he was down in the valley, the storm was, didn't come there. It was a little up where Maharaj was there. But Maharaj could see that this Bhakta, Ram Bhakta, was constantly chanting. And then he could understand, yes, this is the feeling with which we have to chant the holy name. So the fifth offense is to give some, consider the glories of chanting to be imagination. When we hear all these, as we read the book Namamrita, Sri Namamrita, so many glorifications of chanting of the holy name is given. But one of the offenses is that we understand this as imagination. So the fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting the holy name to be imagination. Yeah, no, one thinks this is theory, just not reality. But if you understand, no, Krishna is the same. And, our scriptures say, if you chant Krishna's name even once offenselessly, all the reactions of the sins you have already committed and the sins you cannot even commit can be rectified, can be nullified. So the other flip side is that once we view the holy name as just imagination or unreal, then what happens? We will begin to create our own ideas, our own concoctions, and our own contaminations. So this will, reduce the effect of the chanting or almost nullify it. Prabhupada actually says that, it is almost like a serpent touching the milk and contaminating the milk. So the milk is still appears like that, but it is contaminated, it is poisonous. So when we understand that, yes, Krishna and the holy name are same, it's not an imagination, it's not something which someone has just concocted, but it's a reality. So this way, we will avoid this offense of considering the chanting of the holy name as imagination. It's nice to describe these and discuss these offenses, so that when we are chanting our daily rounds, we consciously try to avoid these offenses. It's already 7 o'clock, so I won't go further. Hopefully, the speaker tomorrow can continue from the sixth offense. If there's any questions or comments or reflections, realizations, please unmute and let me know. Yes, Madhuri.
Just how will we know that we are chanting the name of Krishna sincerely? Like, is there anything we can gauge ourselves or anything?
So, you can actually do a little test. chant one round and see how many actual names you are hearing. The more names you are hearing, the more, in the beginning, we just hear the names, right? Then when we are practicing for some time, then we can, also, devotion will come automatically. Prabhupada says that just try to hear yourself chant sincerely. Then we chant sincerely. Then again, on a practical note, that, we will also extend our devotional practice to our other hours. 2 hours we chant, but what about the other 22 hours? Are we doing some direct or indirect service there? The addition of practical service is a very simple test, a very practical test. That we add more and more services, but at the same time we can also feel the devotion and the emotion in chanting the holy names. And one benchmark Mahatma Prabhu simply gives, he says, the test for whether you have chanted good rounds today or no is that after you finish your 16 rounds, do you want to chant more?
Okay.
Most times, I want to finish my round and keep my chanting bag, not to see till the next day. The quality is not there.
Okay.
But when we chant with quality, that means we want to spend time with Krishna. It is our personal time with Krishna. So, if you love to spend time with someone who you love, then you want to chant more and more and more. So these are some little things. Of course, we can speak on it quite a bit, but because of time, otherwise we can take this discussion offline when we meet Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Anyone else? Any reflections? Any challenges? Sometimes you might think that these offenses are quite easy to avoid, but they are not very easy to avoid. We have to consciously go over these again and again and again, and the descriptions given again and again and again. And this way we can have a deeper understanding of these offenses. We recite these 10 offenses like a machine sometimes in the temple. Offense number 1, to blaspheme the devotees, blah, 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 like that. No, we should understand that, yes, this has to be implemented in our practice.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I just say one quick thing?
Yes.
I'd heard from Guru Maharaj that for lifetimes, for years and years, and for lifetimes, we have been chanting broken names. And he said, like you said, we have to hear ourselves chant sincerely. So there are times, most of the times we don't hear ourselves chant sincerely, but guess what? Krishna is hearing every name that we are chanting.
Yes,
So
thank you, Madhu. Krishna is very compassionate. But then we should not misuse that compassion also. There are 28 people on the screen. Can I just request everyone, please take chanting very seriously. Please take chanting very seriously, because, chanting is the be-all and end-all of our spiritual practice. Of course, that will come from the association. So associations has to be maintained.
Sorry, just can I add? It did not mean that we should not, we can chant anyhow. What he was trying to say is that that's why we must chant properly, because he is listening to each holy name that we are chanting. That's what.
Yes. Like when Madhava Prabhu was asked that how come your kirtan is better than the previous kirtan, when the previous kirtan was the best kirtan. We always see Madhava Prabhu, when he chants, his kirtan is the best. It cannot get any better. The next time he chants, it is better. And then when he was asked why does this happen, he became a bit shy. And he said that because I think this name which I'm chanting, this mantra which I'm chanting, might be the last name, the last mantra of this life. So if we chant with this feeling, we will give our entire existence, our entire being, entire heart in chanting of the holy names when we're chanting. Okay, thank you very much. We've gone beyond. Apologies for that. But as I said, this is a very important topic, and we can continue with the next offenses and importance of chanting tomorrow. Have a very wonderful, blissful day. Keep chanting, keep serving, keep thinking of Krishna, and our life will be very blissful. Hare Krishna, srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the nice class,
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for a very instructional class.
Hare Rama,